welcome to game number 2 between, well, my second game between 120 and a Moon. You'll have to excuse me. Imagine, well, 120 is spawning as the red undead, but his, well, health bar and status bar is over here on the top right. Meanwhile, well, Moon is spawning as the blue night elf, but his status bar, excuse me, is on the top right. Top left, top right, switched. You get the idea. All right. Let's take a look at what's going to be unfolding in this game here. The previous game that I cast, a marathon session of a game, your classic Death Knight versus Demon Hunter on Amazonia. And that game really did go long. Amazonia, very different than Echo Isle in terms of how much gold is in this expansion gold mine. This gold mine here only has 12,500 gold. And I say only because I can say only in comparison to the gold mine in Amazonia that has 20,000 gold. So this expansion here is maybe what is what, a 20-minute gold mine as opposed to a 30-minute gold mine, or is that a fifth? Is that a fifth? I don't know. My math's all wrong right now. Anyways. But just, yeah, there is a significant amount more gold in the gold mines. I was trying to do, like, you know, in-depth analysis of the gold in the gold mines, trying to calculate everything, and my brain just decided to not work for me for a little bit of time. That's a lot of gold. Let's just say that. Yeah, it's just a lot of gold. Trying to give actual analysis, how long each gold mine is going to work, all of that, and for some reason, you know, my basic standard education with math failed me. Anyways, it is going to be a Death Knight going up against a Keeper of the Grove in this matchup. Have to do the math for you as we're looking at the Keeper of the Grove now making its rounds out. Keeper of the Grove, does he go for... No, has not used any of his abilities as of yet. Meanwhile, Death Knight picking up Death Coil to try and increase his creeping ability. Also, leaving a couple of ghouls behind and only using skeletal minions to finally finish off this Null Brood creep camp. Always -5 to doing math when on the stream. Yeah, you know, sometimes you think to yourself, you know what, I'm gonna do some math to help me analyze what's going on in this game, and then you realize you're trying to do mental math while talking and analyzing a real-time strategy game is, well, very mentally taxing. Anyways, Ents just Trents now making their way around here, trying to get some damage onto these acolytes. These acolytes are able to move around this gold mine pretty quickly, so it's I believe the Ents are just going to end up getting taken down and not be able to do very much of anything, while the acolytes also regenerate hit points while on Blight very, very fast. You can see how many hit points they are generating. They're almost counteracting much of the damage that is being dealt. Coming back to the other side here, Keeper of the Grove. Well, it looked like Moon was considering, hey, you know what, why don't I do a little bit of harassment, and then realized that the harassment game wasn't really working out as well as he was going to hope. Death Knight now going after, well, Death Knight going after this 3/3/3 creep camp. It will give him level 2 on this Death Knight here. And by the looks of it, it really looks like 120 is going for a very heavy tech strategy. He has a large number of ghouls on that lumber line right now, finally bringing one ghoul off and now going in for a Crypt Fiend. So he's already up to 250 gold. He had 4 ghouls on that lumber line, and we are now looking at, well, skeletal minions doing a little bit of scouting around the map. So far, though, it looks like 120 is playing close to home, not really wanting to venture forth, knowing that the Night Elf, a faster mobility army with those Huntresses, can get in the way. Moon playing like classic Moon, though, setting up an expansion already, as we're going to be going after the Forest Troll Trapper creep camp. Well, Huntress going to get ensnared here. Keeper of the Grove shows up. Death Knight comes to the party here, and what is really going to end up going down as the Death Knight now needs to retreat back. Well, it looks like he was trying to save that skeletal minion, but that skeletal minion just going to get taken down very easily. Back off to the north here, one lone Crypt Fiend And what is 120 really trying to do? He's sitting on a large amount of gold, 700 gold already. It looks like his tech to tier 2 is now done, already going into tech into tier 3 and getting this Lich as well. This is a very, very aggressive tech strategy coming in from 120. And I guess the question is going to be, does Moon spot this, and how is he going to respond? His preliminary strategy was already to go for an expansion attempt, so he's going to be having an economic advantage going into the mid game fairly fast. He is also going to have a hero level advantage here, as the Keeper of the Grove is already almost at level 3. As he clears out this 5-3-3 creep camp, he will have access to all of that there. The Keeper of the Grove maybe doesn't even need to be in on any of that action, as he could try and harass the Death Knight nearby as well. Do you think the new Cryptlord Ghouls build can get in the meta? We've already seen, yeah, we already have seen a lot of those games here, but what's interesting to note is that the strategies that you see at the highest level of play at tournaments isn't always what you see at the highest level of play from the same players on the ladder. And that's exactly what we've been noticing here, that the game seemed to be a little bit more traditional. Keeper of the Grove has been a constant hero for quite some time, and an unlucky bash coming in from the Cobalt Tunnel. There's a Lich coming in, and that's huge damage right there. Death Coil. And wow, the Keeper of the Grove using that Scroll of Town Portal at the last possible moment. Meanwhile, Ogre Magi going to get taken down, giving Keeper of the Grove now level 3. Alchemist, the second hero coming in from Moon. And well, the timing on that Lich has to be indicative of what 120's strategy was. 120 got his hero after Moon, and he only got a Tavern hero. The Lich was able to show up to the party and make his presence felt very, very quickly, as the Keeper of the Grove and Moon has to think, what is my opponent actually doing? Halls of the Dead already done here, and we are looking at Obsidian statues being trained. Moon changing things up. Yeah, we'll see how all of this is going to be going. And people are still trying to figure out this meta. And I do like this shakeup in the meta. I like that there isn't a specific one way to play the game right now. It is a much more interesting meta. Meta overall, as we're looking at the Alchemist now join in on the fight as well. It isn't going to be mass archers though, so that at least is helpful. All right, yeah, I'm trying to see how the best players in the world are countering specific strategies. That all is incredibly important. Death Knight sitting at level 2, wanting to get to level 3. I think that's the reason why there's creeping away from that Lich right now. Where is the Lich is nowhere to be seen. Lich is actually just back at home, perhaps waiting to pick up that Orb of Corruption, and getting a little bit of extra gold will give level 3 to that Death Knight. Lich, well, sitting with Frost Nova, and that is it for right now. And no, Lich it does pick up that Orb of Corruption. It just hasn't showed up in that box over there as of yet. All right, we're going to be going into an engagement here. Death Coil onto the Ogre Magi. Death Knight, I believe he got that experience. Lich, yeah, on the board with some experience here, finishing off the remainder of the Troll Trapper creep camp. And Moon retreating, even though he has the larger army. Or actually, no, 120 actually has the larger army. Moon just has more supply because, well, there are extra wisps in this gold mine. Now, what is Moon really hoping to do here? The expansion, is he going to be able to deal damage? Well, is 120 going to be able to shut down this expansion? That is going to be the key question. However, the Death Knight and the Crypt Fiends and the Obsidian statues, we all know, do not deal a lot of damage to fortified armor. With that said, well, it still does some, and you need to protect it. If Moon loses this expansion right here, that's going to be really hard for him, because that's the only real advantage that he has going for him. All right, Huntress is now joining in on the fight. Alchemist with Chemical Rage jumping on in, and we see an entangle quickly onto that Crypt Fiend. Crypt Fiend getting Death Coil, trying to be saved, as the Fairy Dragons being used to counteract those Destroyers. Interesting choice, using Fairy Dragons to counteract Destroyers. Fairy Dragons are immune to magic, and they do deal piercing damage, as the Crypt Fiends will drop down a bunch of webs. fairy dragons poking their way through. Mass fairy dragons is the strategy, and sorry for not scouting this out there. Ancients of Wind showing mass fairy dragons in this matchup here. The Crypt Fiends are trying to web them down and separate the army. However, there's just so many fairy dragons that the Crypt Fiends can't seem to do enough. Obsidian statues are providing a little bit of healing, but as they are immune to magic, Frost Nova does not work well against them, and the poking damage is just far too much. All right, we're going to see some more damage coming across here. Destroyers getting poked to, sorry, all of these units just getting poked to death right now. Obsidian statue going to end up getting lost as well, down to 33 hit points. More damage can still get added. Keeper of the Grove also getting off a couple of entangles, forcing more more death coils from that Death Knight. There goes another Obsidian statue. And what is Moon doing here? Moon goes quick expansion into mass fairy dragons, and I don't think I've ever seen a game like this. All right. The fact that I can have a map hack and then just be absolutely surprised at what my opponent is doing, or what one of the players is doing, is absolutely just baffling to me. Yeah, well, I don't even know where the Ancients of Wind were being trained up. Death Knight being forced to use the Scroll of Town Portal. What is this? 2 Ancients of Wind right here. I think I just saw the buildings on the mini-map and automatically assumed they were Ancient of Lores. Right? You see that, you're like, okay, it's going to be Ancient of Lores, you know, and you... That's what I thought. I thought tier 2 Ancient of Lores, moving on, and that could not be further from the truth. Keeper of the Grove should actually stay close by here to get up to level 4. Meanwhile, the Alchemist is going to stay at level 3. He has double claws of attack +6, very high damage indeed, and going to go into triple claws of attack +6. Wow. Tome of Strength picked up there. Are we going to give those to the Keeper of the Grove, all of a sudden increasing his auto attack damage and making it feel like that damage is very, very high? All right, Mass Fairy Dragons, Mass 2-0 upgraded Fairy Dragons. The range is rather low, but when you have so many of them, they are still very, very difficult to deal with. All right. All right. Before I was saying, you know what? You know, it's not. At least it's not mass archers. You know, who really wants mass piercing damage, right? And then it's Mass Fairy Dragons. All right, Crypt Fiends, Destroyer right there. There was Devouring from that Destroyer. And I guess the Destroyer is a natural counter to the Keeper of the Grove. But when your opponent goes for Mass Fairy Dragons, what can you really do there to try and stop that? The Destroyer in that front line position, more damage coming back across. Chemical Rage as the, well, Alchemist now looking to back up again. He does have a lot of mana. We're going to be looking at a battle here in just a moment. 66 supply compared to 48. 120, actually much lower. And Mana Flare actually causing a bit of problems right there, as it did get webbed down. Mana Flare providing a bit of bonus armor. And when I say a bit, I believe it's 12 additional armor, making it take a lot less damage here. Are we going to perhaps see a Frost Nova? There is some damage right there as all of those units trying to back up again. All right, some Absorb Mana, some Destroyers going to take to the skies again as more damage getting added on through. Entangled Goldmine about to get destroyed. Chemical Raging Alchemist off to the side here as in comes the Fairy Dragons. Fairy Dragons going straight after the Obsidian statues. They were in the far back. More damage getting added in. A couple of quick webs to try and slow things down. Death Coil trying to save as the damage is still going after those Destroyers. Now, Destroyers cannot fight back against those Fairy Dragons. They are basically like flying Dryads, completely immune to all of that magic damage. All right, Mana Flare also being used as well, forcing the Obsidian statues to actually retreat back as the Fairy Dragons with that, well, only 8 additional armor, sorry, not 12. I was thinking gargoyles, I think. Fairy Dragons now back up into the air again. Frost Nova going on to that Chemical Raging Alchemist. We'll see whether or not the units are going to be able to shift back. And the Fairy Dragons, because they are able to fly, are able to, travel much, much easier through these crowded woods and be able to track their target much more quickly. Meanwhile, all the ground units are constantly trying to dance around these trees, making them fall further and further or move slower and slower. Death Knight could get taken down there. Death Knight falls. And Moon with a cute game, taking down a 120 with Mass Fairy Dragons? All right, mass fairy dragons right there. Yeah, I could not have predicted that. 120 with a very fast tech to tier 2, going into obsidian statues, crypt fiends, and I was like, okay, what is Moon going to do? Moon saw the opportunity. I don't know if he had this particular plan in play, especially for 120 on this map. Thought that, okay, you know what, I'm going to let you tech very, very fast, and then all of a sudden just surprise you out of nowhere. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it.